What is going on, everybody? It's the Fox, and we're here for our Smackdown review for last night's episode of Smackdown Live, or Smackdown on Fox, whatever you want to call it. This show sucks. I'm just gonna go out there and get this cut to the chase. This show absolutely sucks. We had rematch after rematch after rematch from last week to last Sunday. This show sucked. You had a 6-man tag team match, which was the main event of the show, which opened last week's show. You had Braun Strowman versus Nakamura. You had Chad Gable versus Sheamus again. Just this show. And oh yeah, on top of that, we had Loser Eats Dog Food. Something that we have been warned about from those who went to live events. We have been warned about Loser Eats Dog Food. Fox paid $1 billion for 5 years, and we get dog food. Still, are you kidding me? This has got to be the end of this feud. Roman Reigns, Baron Corbin, on and on and on and on and on. It's over. It's done. Dog food is it. I don't want to see this anymore. A 6-man tag match that last week was boring as hell and took up over half of the first hour. This week, we get a little less of that and more embarrassment. Now, the show started off. Roman comes to the ring, gets a pop. Usos come to the ring, get a pop. They talk for a minute. Out comes Baron Corbin, Roman, and his cronies. They argue back and forth about the match later. Baron Corbin loves to show what they did to Roman Reigns while the Usos were away, covering him in dog food. So Roman's like, well, since you have an obsession with dog food, let's add a stipulation. Loser eats dog food. Baron Corbin accepts. And then some goons, some clowns, some goofball rolls out a cart with dog food and 2 vats of dog food, or 2 vats of gravy, or whatever the fuck this shit was, to the set, and it sits there for the remainder of the show until we get to the main event. Not something I want to see. So we get our first match of the night: Heavy Machinery, The Revival, The Miz, and John Morrison versus Lucha House Party. Fatal 4-way. The winners go to take on the New Day at Super Showdown. Now, of course, going into this, I was like, there's no way The Miz is going to be going to Saudi Arabia. He didn't go last time. I don't think he went the time before that. But also, why is Miz and John Morrison not the number 1 contenders right off the bat? John Morrison has beat both Kofi Kingston and Big E by himself, and since him and Miz have been teamed up again, that right there should make them automatic number 1 contenders. No Mandy Rose citing in all of this. I will have to say this: Grand Metalik. This dude, I don't know if he just recently signed or something, or has signed a new contract anytime soon. This dude has got to leave WWE. Just in this match alone, he looked so damn good, and the fact that they're misusing this guy as bad as they are is a crime. Grand Metalik looked so good in this match. Was this match worth having? No. And apparently, last week or last night, after last night's show, the Revival have asked for the release again. So anybody thinking that WWE has any chance of them re-signing with the WWE, I think went up in smoke. I think you should release these guys. If they're not happy there, don't keep them there. WWE, it's just one of those things. If the talent is not happy being and in this show, why keep them there? Why just force these guys to go out there and embarrass them left and right if they want to go somewhere else? Scott Dawson, Dash Wilder, even if they leave WWE, they can't be called the Revival because that's a WWE trademark. They can't be called Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder because that's not their real names, and that's WWE trademarked right there. So even if they get released, they have to build a new name, a new brand identity, new names for themselves. So even if, hey, it's Scott Dawson and it's formerly Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder, they have to go out there and make names for themselves under something else. It's not like Grand Metalik, because I think that's his actual name. If he left, if his actual rename before WWE, if he left WWE, if that was his real name on the Indies, he would have an ability to go out there and build himself up. Luke Harper going to AEW very soon. He has a name that people know of in Brody Lee before WWE. Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder, if I'm correct, did not really do anything big on the independents. They weren't big indie names or had a smidgen of an indie name before coming to WWE. So them leaving WWE, having to get new names or using their real names, just it would make it so much harder for them in the end. But WWE needs to let these guys go. There's no reason to keep these guys here. If they're not happy, just let them go. Why would you sit there and make these guys just go through this and just be unhappy? Let people leave. You're not helping anybody. In the end, Otis Tucker would have been a great catch, but again, what have they done? The only thing the Heavy Machinery have done in the last month and a half is Otis has been trying to woo Mandy Rose into a date, which we get to in a second. What have the Lucha House Party done? Nothing on SmackDown. They have been on SmackDown since the draft, and they've only shown up one other time, I believe. And again, Miz and John Morrison. John Morrison has beat Big E and Kofi back-to-back weeks. I think the Miz beat Kofi Kingston last week, did he not? So again, why aren't these guys on the tag team title match on their own? Obviously, Miz and Morrison were going to win. Very bad looking Skull Crusher finale on Dawson. Starship Pain by Morrison after he tags in. 1, 2, 3. The Miz and John Morrison are your winners. We get a look at the dog food stage as Grace performs a stipulation for the main event. And then we see a few shots of the Fiend whipping Daniel Bryan during the strap match. We see a frustrated Otis backstage. Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville walk up. Rose thanks Otis for helping her during the 30-woman Royal Rumble. This leads to Otis asking Mandy out on a date for next Friday. Otis says she has plans next Friday. Otis looks shocked and disappointed. She says, but she doesn't have plans the following Friday. Otis is thrilled. Rose and Deville walk off to get ready for a match. Tucker points out to Otis that he has plans for a date on Valentine's Day, February 14th. Obviously, isn't it just convenient how it's a date on a Friday when it also happens to be Valentine's Day? Wow. One of two things is going to happen. One, this is going to lead to Otis getting his heart broken because Mandy Rose is going to make him is going to embarrass him. Or two, Sonya Deville is going to break this up, confess her love for Mandy Rose, and what everyone expected between Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville months ago is going to happen coming up. But congratulations to Otis, you did it. The big pudgy boy got it. He got the date that he was hoping for. We get another look at the highlights from the strap match on Sunday. We also see Bryan's post-match comments where he revealed that the welt's on his back. And he talked about how he FaceTimed his wife Brie and Birdie. And Birdie wanted to see Daddy's boo-boos, which you saw they showed him getting a shower from the back, the upper back up. So it was in the shower. You saw all the welts on his back. He was going to show his daughter what happened to his back, but Brie said it's too much. It's too much. And he wonders if he loves this too much, and he's like, yes. And he hopes that his daughter will be able to love something as much as he loves professional wrestling. And that's just sentiment to anybody. If you are good at something, if you love something, if you have a career in something, and you love doing it so much, the only thing we can do as adults and as people who have kids, which I don't, unfortunately, is hopefully that something that you do and you love to do, your kids can find something that they love just as much as you love that. Like if you're a basketball player, if you're obsessed with basketball and you do nothing but eat, sleep, and play basketball, and you love it to no end, if you have a kid, you hope that that kid will love something as much as you do that, or say professional wrestling as well. Just ideas there. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Daniel Bryan. Where does he go from here? Obviously, the strap match should be the blow-off for that feud with The Fiend. Where does The Fiend go from here? I have no idea. Bliss Cross Applesauce versus the Fire and Desire. Yes, I'm calling them Bliss Cross Applesauce because I think it's funny. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. This was... apparently, they're talking about this could the winner of this match because it is the only two viable tag teams we have to go up against Kairi Sane and Asuka. Kairi Sane and Asuka for the tag team titles, and we haven't seen a title defense since TLC. So maybe we will get the team of Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss getting another title shot, even though it's been a couple months since they lost the titles. We'll have to wait and see. They plugged the Super Bowl, shows us highlights from Halftime Heat in 1999. What absolutely sucks is that last year at the Super Bowl, we had a Halftime Heat. We had Velveteen Dream, I believe Johnny Gargano and Aleister Black versus, we had, who was it? It was Tommaso Ciampa, Adam Cole, I believe. We had a 6-man tag team match. I can't remember who was on. I know Johnny Gargano was. I know Tommaso Ciampa was. Velveteen Dream was. I believe Adam Cole was. And 2 others in a 6-man tag match on Halftime Heat. The thing was on YouTube. It was a freaking success, and they're not doing one this year. I think that is a massive misstep. I think that would have been something for them to do. Get us a couple other people. I mean, Worlds Collide was last week. It's funny because a takeover happened, of course, the week before that led to Halftime Heat. I think we could have had something lead to a Halftime Heat where you have like Finn Balor and somebody else versus Mustache Mountain in a tag team match, or Finn Balor versus this person in like something for Halftime Heat. It was successful last year. I think it's something they could have continued on this year, but unfortunately, they're not doing one. So we get this match here, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville versus Bliss Cross Applesauce. Now, this match, it goes for a bit. Nikki Cross, pretty much the match starts off with Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss going to, decide who's going to tag in first or who's going to be first. Where Fire Desire comes in and starts fighting them. Cross gets thrown to the outside. Bliss is trying to fight off these two. She sends one out to the outside. Towards the end of the match, Bliss tags and Cross, she unloads on Rose in the clothesline and knocks the belt off the apron. Cross splashes Rose into the corner and hits the running Bulldog. Cole now said the winner may earn a future title shot against Sane and Asuka, even though he made it implied that the winners would for a bit. I don't know who thought that was an idea. Cross screams some more and runs wild going up to the top. Cross nails a crossbody to Rose for a 2 count as Deville breaks it up for the running knee. Bliss runs in and drops Deville with the right hand. Rose turns it around on Cross and drops her. Cross comes back with a net breaker, the Purge. Bliss tags in, hits Twisted Bliss, 1, 2, 3, and Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss are your winners. This was not a number 1 contenders match. It could build towards a number 1 contendership, but we don't have a traditional actual pay-per-view for the main roster until March, which is going to be the Elimination Chamber. So it's good to see. We'll have to just wait and see what happens when we get closer to that. We could possibly see the tag team titles because, yes, last year at the Elimination Chamber, the tag team championships were created or were introduced as a tag team championship as the team of Sasha Banks and Bayley ended up winning those. Could we happily see? Could we actually see the tag team titles be defended at this year's Elimination Chamber? No idea. Another Super Bowl plug because, yes, the reason they called this a Super Smackdown, because this was not Smackdown, this was Super Smackdown, was because the Super Bowl is on Sunday and WWE wanted to honor the big game. Braun Strowman versus Shinsuke Nakamura Intercontinental Championship match. This has been coming for a bit as Nakamura lost to Braun Strowman, 2 weeks ago? Braun Strowman's been winning the Intercontinental title, has made this intention known since around Christmas time when they did the whole Secret Santa thing. So, this match happened. You had so much shenanigans between Sami Zayn getting involved, Cesaro getting involved. Sami Zayn rips off the turnbuckle. Cesaro distracts the referee. Nakamura goes to use which Nakamura did cut down Strowman to his size for a good bit. However, when he goes to attack Strowman with his head on the turnbuckle, Strowman stops that, turns it around, hits his head on the turnbuckle, picks him up, running power slam, 1, 2, 3. Braun Strowman is your new Intercontinental Champion. Most likely going into WrestleMania as Intercontinental Champion. It is his first singles title. Yes, he is a 2-time tag team champion. But this is something that probably for him feels a lot better than having to deal with, being a tag team. This is something that he's been wanting for a while. Anybody would want to have would want to win the Intercontinental title. You could see the emotion on Braun Strowman when he won this championship. When that 3 hit, the bell rings, and you could just see this guy just get so emotional because it is the Intercontinental title. This title one time was one of the most prestigious titles in all of professional wrestling. He had the workhorse title, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, The Rock, Stone Cold. The title when the title was discontinued in 2002. Stone Cold brought it back in 2003. Cody Rhodes, the original title belt, which was held by Shawn Michaels and the Ultimate Warrior, and them brought that back for about 9 years. And now here he is, Intercontinental Champion. Braun Strowman just adds his name to history as the latest champion of the Intercontinentals. Now, I'm fine with it. It gives him something to do. Gives him a direction to go into WrestleMania. Shinsuke Nakamura held that title for 199 days. And in those 199 days, did absolutely nothing with it. The Intercontinental title, just like the United States title, has no prestige left, it feels like. Again, in 199 days, won it at Extreme Rules last summer. Didn't defend it on majority of the pay-per-views. Now, Braun Strowman being the Intercontinental Champion, WWE has a lot more stock in Braun Strowman than they do Shinsuke Nakamura. Do I see the Intercontinental Championship doing a little bit more? Absolutely. Since it is one of those things that if you have a title on someone WWE has more stock in, you'll see that title more, and that title will be have a little bit more prestige. So him being champion, him holding it past WrestleMania, I don't see that. I don't know who he'd be going against. People are saying Sheamus. I don't think that's ready. I don't think that's where we need to go. We'll just have to wait and see what goes on. So WWE has a lot of room they can go with. A babyface Intercontinental title holder could be interesting depending on who he goes up against. We see back from break, Sami Zayn is backstage ranting about to Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura about the injustice, what just happened to them. Elise Ashton walks up for comments, and Sami rants to her, running her down. He is interrupted by a sound of Elias' guitar strumming. He's not happy. They have some words. He keeps playing. Elias keeps playing and taunting Sami Zayn, sending Cesaro to take care of the situation. We go back to the ring, and he introduces himself. Elias does. He says we're on the road to WrestleMania 36, and he knows what that means. He wrote everyone here tonight a new song. He hopes everyone claps along, but before he can do anything, out comes Cesaro. These two have a brawl, and he sends him out. So Elias gets the upper hand on Cesaro. I don't think that's going to be the end of them. And that was that. Corey Graves shamelessly plugs after the bell about what his guest Ronda Rousey, and says if he was a betting man, we'd see Ronda returning to WWE sooner rather than later. I say the night after WrestleMania, especially if Shayna Baszler is the one to take on. If she's the one to take on Becky Lynch, beat Becky at WrestleMania, how to get this going where we have Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler for the Raw Women's Championship. That would be fantastic. Sheamus versus Chad Gable. This is a rematch from Sunday's episode, pre-show at the Royal Rumble. Sheamus comes out, gets attacked from behind by Chad Gable. We go to break, and then this was just all dominated by Sheamus. Road kick, 1, 2, 3. Who gives a shit? If you didn't give enough shit to put it on the main show at the Royal Rumble, why should we care on Friday? Why? Drew McIntyre will be on Tuesdays backstage on FS1. Who cares? And then we go to SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley. She's all smiles tonight as fans boo her when she enters the ring. They point out next week SmackDown will take place from Bayley's hometown in San Jose, California. She says, damn, I'm good. Raises the title and goes about it. She's a role model, defeating Lacey Evans to retain her title at the Royal Rumble. We get a what treatment. She says she got payback on Evans for injuring her best friend Sasha and forcing her to miss the Royal Rumble, which was a legit injury. So anyone saying that, oh, there were people out there giving this whole, like, oh, Charlotte got WWE to keep Sasha Banks out of the Royal Rumble, or Charlotte, she was out of the Royal Rumble because of X, Y, and Z. Sasha Banks is injured. She has been injured for weeks. She has not wrestled a match since January 3rd. So she has been injured. That's why there's 2 weeks in a row that they advertised her having a match with Lacey Evans. She's actually been injured. But Bayley says now Evans' daughter Summer has to look at her mother knowing she's a loser. So Summer can sit there in the crowd with the rest of these annoying sheep and watch her if she needs someone to look up to. She says it's given that Charlotte will pick her for the title shot at WrestleMania 36 and calls Flair out because it says, I have beaten everybody. But she hasn't beaten the next woman who comes out, Naomi. For her first appearance since returning to the action in the WrestleMania for the Royal Rumble match, Naomi is wearing a new helmet covering her face, which is lit up in LED lights. So I was wondering where DJ Z or Joaquin Wilde's light up face mask went to. Apparently Naomi stole the idea, so that's why he's not wearing that anymore. He's wearing this new LED fishbowl. She dances around and hits the ring. Takes the mic and says she missed SmackDown. She couldn't help but hear all the trash talking. Says Bayley is out here lying, saying she's beaten everyone. But Bayley, you have never beat me. And as a former SmackDown Women's Champion, the title could use some glow. And the next chance she gets, she's going to drag. And Bayley takes her microphone, and jabs her in the face. They start a brawl. They has fight. Fans boo, mainly not Meltzer, but Naomi comes back and hits a big springboard kick for the second rope for the fans pop, sending Bayley onto the floor on her back. Naomi gets fired up as the music starts back up. Bayley recovers on the ground as Naomi dances around the ring. Until, of course, her husband and brother-in-law come out, which the Usos, which leads to the main event. But before we get to that, so it looks like Lacey Evans is done, which is fine. Lacey Evans has no business getting a title shot anyway. Lacey Evans done. She can go back to catering. She needs to work on stuff. Maybe she can be on main event a little bit. So Naomi's next. That's going to be probably at Elimination Chamber, which is fine. As long as Sasha Banks is healthy enough to get to WrestleMania and we can start the build to WrestleMania after the Elimination Chamber. It's going to be a short build, but that is fine. Just get me to Sasha Banks versus Bayley at WrestleMania. What does that mean for Charlotte? Apparently that means that she's going to be going after Rhea Ripley. Do I think that's a good idea? No. But do you really want to see Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch? Do you really want to see Charlotte Flair versus Bayley? No. This is why Charlotte winning the Women's Royal Rumble made absolutely no sense. There's 2 champions right now that make no sense for Charlotte Flair to face them. So I just can't. I can't see why you would even go out there and do this. Now moving on here. Like Bayley, Naomi will be fine. It'll be good. I don't think we've seen really Bayley versus Naomi in a nauseating fashion, so it'll be fine. And of course, Bayley's not going to lose that title. Are you kidding me? She's going into WrestleMania as champion. It would be stupid to take the title off of her. Roman Reigns and the Usos versus Baron Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, and Robert Roode. Robert Roode is no longer wearing traditional tights. He's wearing pants now, which is the first time I think I've ever seen him wear those, which is fine. If that's what he wants to wear, that's what he wants to wear. He is getting a lot older, so maybe he wants to hide any little flabs in his legs and whatnot. Let's just get down to the gist of this. We get Roman Reigns winning the match, not by a spear. He goes for a spear. Corbin and Reigns go in real quick. Roman misses a spear with a knee, and then he rolls out Corbin. 1, 2, 3. Roman and the Usos win. Roode and Ziggler were buried under the announce table, so Baron Corbin was on his own. He's trying to leave, eats a super kick. They cuff one hand, eats another super kick. They cuff the other hand, eats a spear. They hang him up like Roman Reigns was hung up at the middle of December when he got the dog food poured on him. They bring all this dog food over. They start slapping it on him, spilling, like splashing it on him. And the show goes off the air with the Usos and Roman Reigns smiling over a dude covered in dog food. This was terrible. This was absolutely atrocious. Fox paid $1 million for this, so Fox, I hope you got all your money's worth, because this was an absolute embarrassment. I'd rather watch the Wheeling Nailers who were on TV on because I watch SmackDown over the air because that's what I use my my TV upstairs. I watch SmackDown over the air, and the very next channel over is MeTV, which hosts Wheeling Nailer games. But the Nailers game was absolutely was over by the time this segment happened. I would have rather the Wheeling Nailers going to triple, quadruple overtime so I could watch that over this garbage. This was absolutely atrocious. This absolutely does not belong on television. And Roman Reigns and the Usos, they beat them. It's done. I don't want to see this anymore. I don't want to see Roman Reigns versus Baron Corbin anymore. That doesn't mean you get to go to Super Showdown and have Roman Reigns versus Baron Corbin in a Buried Alive match or something. End it here and now. No freaking more. SmackDown was terrible. There was one, maybe two good parts in the show. After that, the show sucked. Why? And here, Monday Night Raw has the Lashley, Lana, and Rusev, Liv Morgan, Love Square. And SmackDown as a whole pales in comparison. Like that SmackDown as a whole makes that look like child's play. This is just a show that I would not. This is another one of those shows that if your friends came over and like if you were watching SmackDown in your living room and you heard like the door knocking or somebody wanted to barge into your room, you flip off immediately because this just I can't even. SmackDown is terrible, and I think it's time that they end it. Fox needs to pull out of this deal because the ratings don't matter as much as they should. And this is just what WWE is going to do because they can. But that is all I can say about this. Hit the subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Twitter at The Frauds Club. Find me on twitch.tv/The Frauds Club. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for an episode 104.